Hey guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Shut my mouse off. Finally, back to the law of one. Although many of the topics that closed out book two, I've covered in the Wanderer's Handbook because a lot of it brought up reincarnation and the chakras. And I'm going to go through some of that more information about that type of stuff today, dealing with book 3. But before I do, please like, please share, and please subscribe to my channel. If you're getting anything from my work, light bulbs, light bulb moments, epiphanies, connecting the dots, please support my work and me. It's gonna keep continuing to do these videos and keep me fed and have the lights on. And it's very appreciated. A love donation is amazing. And all that information is in the drop box below. So we're going to start off with, again, the harvest, which we are all trying to obtain right now. Graduation, ascension, whatever you would like to call it. The unique thing about our times is that we get to take our physical vehicle with us into fourth density, which has never been done before in previous cycles of humanity. So it's worth noting, Ross states, there are 3 levels or groups of energies watching over the graduation and harvest of beings. There's, I think, a lot more, but he does the subcategories of all this. We are like zoo animals. If you think of the alien globe analogy where we're sitting in a glass globe on a shelf on some alien kid's shelf that he won for a best contest of science, we're in that globe being watched right now. Snow globe, by the way. Firmament and all. So the first group are the angelics. Also included is the higher self and spirit guides. Without these beings, and I just read it in the Urantia book, all the different infinite beings that could potentially be helping us ascend higher. Beyond our higher self, which is upstairs, that's directly linked to us and our subconscious and unconscious, our angelic beings are also connected to us. And there are not just the antithetical Archangel Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and Uriel and all of them. There are way many more angelics upstairs watching humanity right now. And they're helping us individually ascend. And our spirit guides, we are all given, in my opinion, again, this is my knowing my wheelhouse. We're all given spirit guides at birth. We have a guide that helps us transition into the womb. And that guide helps us go in and out of the womb to get ready to be incarnated. I do believe that guide does go and does the same thing with other souls, so they don't stay, they come and go, or they go on to other jobs, which the Urantia book covers extensively what those jobs could be. Many of us have Ascended Master Guides. We have guides if we do a project or we're doing something interesting, a guide will step forward to help you do so. I have etherical animals from the etheric realm that help me. I have a bigger than life, larger than life black bear. I have a pack of wolves. I have fairies. These are all my guides. So they all comes in different shapes, sizes, and forms, and they come from different realms. There's interdimensional beings who are somebody's guides. So those beings are helping us graduate because we, before our incarnation, had a big round table with all of them saying, well, this is how you're going to help me. This is what I need during my existence. And then the free will life, if I fall off my path, could you put me back on my path? Because we have the veil of forgetting. We forget our prior lives. Though now some of us are starting to remember our past incarnations, not all of them. I could not think to myself if I could remember 27,000 plus existences out of 5 cycles of Earth. I don't think I can do that. But the ones that are very important will be remembered. And then if some of us have simultaneously a soul fragment in another body, living out another life, that's another being to be accounted for, our other self. So the second group is the confederation entities that will help those not in touch with their higher selves. We have, again, there's a lot of speculation on the Galactic Federation of Worlds. A lot of people watch that in Cosmic Agency and they're like, they butt heads. There's 2 conflicting theories there. And then you have your super soldiers, and then you have everybody else chiming in the UFO community about like the roles of the councils and the Confederation and all these beings. Regardless, okay, there are entities upstairs from different planetary or land masses here to help us. Again, this is a great experiment. Third density is a freaking experiment. It's a simulation. It's a holographic simulation. Azra and Quo, Latsui, and Latan state it is an illusion. It's a distortion. It's duality. So we're here experiencing duality. We're playing a game. It's illusionary. But regardless, each realm, each plane of existence is a different board. These guys know the impact of third density, and they're here to help us merge to 4th and 5th. We have to go to 4th. We can't skip 4th because there's lessons there. But the time frame up there is different from here. So we might already have our 4th density lessons and zip to 5th. Maybe. But again, it's all individualized. So one can't stay for the other. We don't know until it actually occurs what is actually going down. No one. But the beings upstairs. And even they don't know because timelines keep changing. Events out of free will keep happening that are pushing either the timeline forward or back. And I believe a lot of it's being pushed back. Although they're trying to speed up time to push things forward. And they have the ability to do that. My opinion again. The third group, the Guardians, There are higher octave above Ra, so they're a high density, serving as light bringers. Keyword right there. All combined help the harvest. They help a lot of the process involved. And the reason why I read on and didn't address the higher self is I'm going to do that now. The Confederation is going to help those souls, essences, who are not awake. And awake is being aware of the programming that has been occurring on our planet since technology has really hit its height. A lot of people aren't aware how manipulated they have been. And even though it's shown in a lot of today's social media and reality shows, and people are blatantly showing you the truth, because it's on television, you think it's fiction and you kind of dismiss it when they're really telling you the truth. Again, these people are catalysts. They do what they do so that we can learn and evolve. And they chose those roles. They have a lot of karma to work out from prior lives. The biggest role that they could play is to help awaken everybody, even though who knows where they're going to end up. But there's a lot of people, and I can see it where I live, blinded, sleeping to the programming and distortions of this illusion that they are under, that they're not in contact with their higher self. They live in a mute, repetitive cycle of existence. Don't really worry about anybody else but themselves. And not to say that they're negatively polarized. No, most people are very good and they try, but they're not aware of their higher selves. And the Confederation is in streaming plasma and light codes and light emissions to help raise awareness and consciousness so that some of these people can wake up. And in that process, that's also helping many of us with our downloads and our self-awareness and our compassion and our fourth density roles are being downloaded into us. Our DNA activation, our upgrading is happening with the same energy. So those people are not going to be lost and they are going to be helped. Most of us will be far more advanced. My co-host is eyeing the top of that chair. Go for it, Kat. Yeah. So the Guardians, I mean, it's interesting because we have the Space Force, that we have the Guardians. I wonder really where they got that name from. They're also the light bringers. And what are they doing? They're sending the light to us in the photonic belt that we're going through right now. So it's very important to understand that we're not alone. We never were alone, but in the greater scheme of things, in the greater universe, we are being helped and aided by these beings on all different levels so that we can all successfully move forward in our ascension, in our graduation, and what Rob would call the harvest. It's way long overdue. We were supposed to already be in where we're supposed to be in fourth density. We're not there yet. Let me help my cat. Give me a minute. So when we ascend, we are going up in density. So our carbon bodies are going to transform into crystalline, supposedly, a theory. But that also encompasses our chakras and our activating of our chakras. And I've been going through chakra systems with you guys for a lot of these episodes. Ross states when the lower three chakras or rays, the red, orange, and yellow, tailbone, lower belly, belly button, are fully unblocked, the energy will create speeds of rotation as the entity grows in development. The higher rays and energy centers will express crystal structures. So I've done a couple of meditations in my early, like, waking up stage. Not that I was never awoken, but when I got back into like acknowledging that I have abilities and I have to deal with them. The first couple of years, I started doing a lot of chakra meditations. You can find them on YouTube. And it's all visualization in your mind to visualize the speed and rotation of each. And it's all of us are individual. All of us have an individual vehicle and soul essence, and each of those chakras rotate at a different speed. It's up to you to imagine what that speed is in your mind. There is no right or wrong. And a lot of people can argue that point, but we are all individual here on third density. Our levels of awareness or consciousness are of our own individuality. A lot of people message me all the time about why I'm tethered here and why I'm blocked and why this and why that. Okay, but I'm still individualized going on my own journey, and everybody has a block or a partial block. There are very, very few people in this world who are fully activated in all their chakras systems and are fully rotating at the speed that they need. There is no right or wrong with that. Just putting that out there. It baffles me when people want to try to help, but if it doesn't resonate with you and it sounds negative, it's not for you. A lot of people offer a lot in guise of other things. Be aware, those of you who are listening that do that, I can read your intentions. They're not good. Well, they're not what I'm desiring. So the lower three, you focus on the red. Once you open up visually those centers and you focus on one individually and move up when you feel that one is open and rotating, you go to the next one, the orange ray, and then you go up to the yellow ray. And when you hit the heart chakra, the green ray, there's crystallized structures in those chakra centers. And then the blue, which is our communication, and our indigo, and your violet. This, in a notion, is the balanced form of energy center activation which is transmuted to the time, space, nature of regularization and balance, which we must at some component be balanced in our chakras to some capacity. There can be blockages, you'll still move up, but the transition period for that will be very helpful if you are of a balanced chakra system or close to it for your individual needs. The energy centers of a physical being complex have distinct crystalline structure in the more developed physical being complex. All individualized, as Ra says, no two snowflakes are the same. That's the truth. In this dimension, density and multiverse, if there's really only one of us, physically in a vehicle. Okay, I'm not talking about clones, drones, and all the other things that go on in life. There are no two snowflakes or body vehicles the same. They're all different, and they all function differently. We all function differently. We all need different substances. We all need different things at different times of the day. No one perfect diet, no one perfect anything. Nada. So when in the part of this section in the book, it goes into meditation and everything. Again, I really suggest if this is something that you're interested in, and again, not everybody meditates and not everybody does visualization, though eventually you're going to be forced to do it, in my opinion, at some unconscious, subconscious level. Ra gives a step-by-step of what they look like, and I'm going to read that, and I think they're very interesting. Also, what could help is sacred geometry. Later on in my notes, I'm going to go over the pyramid a bit. Not easy to discern what Ra put down and me rewriting it so that I can convey it to you guys, but we'll get there. So the red ray, the root chakra, looks like a spoked wheel. So if you're doing your meditation or you're visualizing your tailbone, your roots, spoked wheel, and that's the red ray. The orange ray, flower-shaped 3 petals are on that flower. Yellow ray, round shape as a star. So however you want to visualize a star, that's the shape. It's round though. Military helicopter. Green ray, lotus shape. The crystalline structure depends on development. Blue ray, the quiet center. 100 facets flashing brilliantly and with brilliance. So think about light hitting a gem and all the facets. Indigo ray is triangular, 3 petal shape. Violet ray, 1,000 petal, the sum of mind, body, spirit complex. The crown. So when you're visualizing and meditating, if you have the ability to visualize, those are the things that you should be visualizing to unlock and to speed and get your rotation going in your chakra centers. Again, there's no right and wrong, and whatever you visualize is what is the representation that you need for your own body. It's like a key that unlocks the centers, and everybody has a different key. So just be aware of that. There's no right or wrong. When you listen to meditation and you see something different, go with what you're seeing, not with what they're telling you to look at. Next, we're going to move on to the wanderers, star seeds, light workers. The questioner asks why wanderers choose to incarnate now, and is it because of the harvest? I'm going to tell you from my own personal experience before I even get into the notes. Yes. I innately knew before I incarnated that my last life lived in a third density form was going to be for now, because I was up for graduation purposes. I was up for harvest. My soul is tired. My soul has been here and has done that literally a lot. I've done a lot of work in all my lives to come to this point where I am now. And many of you are in the same boat as me. We all chose this period of now, no matter what your age is. You came in vibrating at a specific rate. You came in to help the universe, help Gaia, and help everybody around you transmute the negative energy into positive energy and try to get her to come into a positive polarity so that we can all move together. Just my opinion. Roz says that it is correct also that we might remember what's been forgotten to positive polarization. Though there is self and other self classifications. So I have another self living in another part of the universe, in another dimension, that it's physical. I don't know if it's in third density or not, but it is physical. It's me in another form or in a body, living simultaneous to what this body is living. Now, I could have just incarnated to, a few weeks ago, I had a quantum healing to connect me and this other self that I have together so that we're both whole. Because we're both missing portions of each other that got lost in a void. Now that it's starting to come, my cords are connecting, that energy is starting to come closer to me. I could be here just to help that other self get through its existence and its life, which is still a part of me, simultaneously living somewhere else in another part of the multiverse. But I might have had to be here to yank this soul, part of my soul, and to help it graduate. There's multiple reasons why we're here. Or the opposite, that she is helping me graduate. And I won't know until I get that information. But that's not for everybody. Not everybody's living simultaneously lives. I also feel like I'm living another simultaneous life upstairs. Not just my higher self, but my future self. So, because there's no time upstairs in the way that we view it. So there could be a number of reasons why we have all chosen to come for this harvest, for this time. We all together as a tribe and as a community of souls who have been here numerous times, doesn't matter the amount. We've all had imprints of our past lives, and we sometimes need to remember the positive lifetimes in order for us to quantum leap into a positive timeline. Because there are definitely a lot of lives. Again, we live in a world of duality. That was a weird helicopter. Very weird. Anyway, we have all lived in many different aspects, including the negative. It's a duality. You need to know from both. One life was a positive polarization, and the next life you're a negative polarization. But it's up to your soul either to choose to stay there or to move into the service to others and service to Creator. Most people have chose service to others, and Creator, go you go. But you have to have that free will choice. So this life, I chose to be a service to others and Creator, serving not just people in and around my space, but also the infinite source. Some wanderers may have incarnated to help the other self, to gain harvest. Also helps raise the consciousness of the planet, thus offering the catalyst to the other self. So the catalyst, remember, is that karma, that energy that helps them, enlighten them, to challenge them, to give them some kind of test for them to pass in order to be cognizant and move up. If the wanderer remembers and practices self-service to others, they will polarize rapidly and get higher density catalysts, which is what I feel like I'm experiencing for myself in this body right now. Lastly, the social memory complex totality could recapitulate a learning teaching in a third density catalyst to perfect in a sixth density self, to perfect compassion and wisdom, giving it balance. So there could be beings here from the sixth density that came down to a third density existence. I know that my soul did this. My higher self swapped itself out 3 years ago, I want to say, maybe even 4 now. It swapped itself out with my third density soul. So sixth density, third density. Because my sixth density soul needs to retune its compassion and wisdom and gain balance. And a really good way to do that is to be in sixth density, because in third density, in a sixth density mind frame, because of everything that's being spit out right now, this is a perfect time to practice compassion for others. Even if they do you wrong, say the wrong thing, or make you really upset. This is a perfect example of a learning teaching for a sixth density soul to be here, to swap itself out, to learn. And that kind of accelerates when you go back up into ascension, how long you stay in the density. Ra wants us to remember we are all one. We are. In unity lies love. Unity lies light. Quote from Ra, a fundamental teaching of all planes of existence in materialization, unity, love, light, and joy. This is the heart of evolution of spirit. I would also add forgiveness. But those are in essence, what we're all trying to achieve here. Unity, love, and unconditional love, not just love. I always said love is a four-letter word that encompasses so many emotions, and it has a non-descriptive definition because it can be applied in so many ways. Light, the frequency, the vibration. Joy, which very few actually have ever felt. This is the heart of evolution of a spirit. So we need to encompass all these things and know that we are all one. We're all one. Congratulations, humans. We are all one. We also have Ra. The logos creates light and the nature of the catalytic energy experiences for the creation in itself. Ra states its honor duties are for those of the next octave, the supervision of light that it is manifested for this experiential cycle of our time-space. There's a lot to unpack there. Where is our logos? The central sun. And that central sun has given us catalytic energy and experiences for our third dimensional plane. And that helps us reach the next plane or the next octave of vibration and frequency to hone in on, to vibrate in. And again, this is an experiment. It's never been done before. Life is an experiment. We test and we observe and we go through all the scientific analogies that can be given to us. And in life, that's what we do. We feel, we intuit, we sense, we taste, we have our five senses and our sixth. And we go through life experimenting constantly. If something doesn't work out, we try a new method, we go down another path. If we do this, there's cause and effect. And then by that cause and effect, we get a conclusion. And we either could take it or move in more in depth into whatever we're doing in life. And that's everything that we do throughout our lives. In essence, all energy functions in the action of free will. On love, that nature of energy, all of it is light. Our inner light, he calls Polaris of self, the guiding star, the true nature, birthright of all entities, all within, at the root of our feet. The North Star, an analog of magnetic field that goes from the feet to the tailbone. By tapping into the higher streams of light, creates the vibrational efficiency to be tapped into to determine the nature of use by the flow. So we have two poles, a positive and a negative, and a toroidal field. And when you do grounding, you're grounding one of your poles to the earth. Whether the center be Agartha or the central sun, whatever you want to imagine in your mind, what that center is what you want that center to be. And that is fine. There's no right or wrong. And the same thing for your other pole, goes up and it goes into the universe. And there's a stream of energy that flows in. It's up to your free will to make sure that it is love and light. Even in the negative polarization, it's still love and light, but it's love and light for self. You have magnetic poles in your body. That's why some people could feel the ley lines. Some people can feel earthquakes before they happen because they're tapped into that magnetic pole, that energy. And we all have the ability to do so, by the way. Oh my goodness. The last really big topic that I'm going to cover, and again, with the third book, there's a lot about the Orion Crusaders and stuff. I'm going to hold that off for my Alien Agenda series. But pyramids. Notably, he's talking about Giza because Ra claims to have helped build, form, make them. I don't know how true that is. I don't doubt it because there was a lot of thought forms and telecommunication and transferring of things that, oh boy. But it's also with what's in the pyramids. And a large portion of this section that I read was about the chambers, the queen, the king, and the different functions and uses of it. Ra claims the pyramid shape does not work. The claim of arrangement for the centralization also diffraction of spiraling upward energy, light energy used by mind, body, spirit complex. The nature of spiraling light with the magnetic field of a being has an effect on the spiraling energy. Certain shape formations have echo chamber effect, intensifier for spiraling prana, some having the primal distortion of creator. So if you go into the Emerald Tablets and unleash the idea that the pyramids were formed and made to be healing centers, and each chamber had a different function and a different thing to do. It's just like going into a CAT scan or MRI. There's different things that it does, but it's looking within in your body, right? So the chambers that he's talking about, if one were to go into a pyramid, the energy and the centers and the mathematics and the sacred geometry all has to line up. And it's not just about the pyramid shape itself. It's about what encompasses in the shape. And I don't know if you've seen pictures of the pyramid with the light stream going straight up. Well, that's spiraling light energy is magnified. It's going up. And the echo chambers of the echo in the chambers also have healing modalities and other kind of modalities. In ancient times, the people dwelled in caves, and at certain points in a cave system, you would have a room that was carved out so perfectly in whatever shape it is. And when someone, did throat humming or did light language, the octave was exact vibration it needed to be for healing or for whatever the purposes and intentions that was put out into that space. So that's exactly what I feel like he's talking about when it comes to this spiraling energy and the formations inside of the chambers. Ra states the intent to intensify the necessity for the own will brings forth the inner light. So you have to will it. Matching the intensification of the energy from spiraling light. The Queen's chamber, once placed in a specific shape, brings inventory and place of resurrection. So for that one chamber in the Giza pyramid, the Queen's chamber would be for the initiatory and the place of resurrection. And again, in the book, you'll realize that Ra jumps around a whole lot. Ra says, offset place a representative spiral, which is in motion, a position to be healed. The vibratory magnetic nexi gets interrupted in normal flux in this position. A new being is offered to one of a choice, can be made to have a less weak, distorted, or blocked energy magnetic distortion center. When it comes to the healer and crystal, the power of interruption has to be controlled. The incarnate intelligence, with recognizing patterns of energy, non-judging, recognizes blockages, weaknesses, and also other distortions capable of visualizing through the regulatory of self and crystal. The less distorted the other self is healed. Sorry guys, like my neighborhood is like nothing but like dumb noise. So in these pyramids, in our magnetic field, we can use a crystal. I wouldn't use this, but a clear quartz or anything. And there's a lot that goes into crystal work and healing and understanding the functions of a crystal and yourself. And being able to recognize what's already programmed in the crystal and the light and the magnetic nexi that you have within you, to merge those two energies together to do the purpose of healing and unblocking is very useful. And you can also heal your other self. Ra also claims some shapes are dangerous. The distortion with bad intentions, improper placement, lack of crystallized functioning for healing can happen. Note, living in round arc or peak forms helps express the power of creator. So he was talking about the other side. So when you have crystals and you have whatever have you, and you're using it in the wrong intention, you could do damage, as we see in the black arts. People use the same scrying tools a crystal ball, and gems, just like a person of light. It's what intention you bring into that object, the energy reflects. So just know and understand, if you are a healer or you're going into that, or you're interested and you're a newbie to crystals, always intuit what the crystal is programmed as. And a lot of them aren't programmed, but some happen to be. Some have different properties. Be mindful when you do go gem shopping to always, you know, as much as people hate that you touch gems in a crystal shop, you do have to feel the energy coming off of it to see if it matches your resonance and what you'd like. And again, with healing, everything is with intention. It's what you put into it. So that I'm going to end that portion there. But also, it's interesting how we all live in square or rectangle houses. Very few people live in a circular or a peaked house. I find that very interesting. A lot of people that live off grid live more in a circular, spherical house, as opposed to everybody who lives on the grid, right? A grid meaning, like, look at you, New York, everything is on a grid. Everything has its section and everything has its place, and it's all squared or rectangled off. Very few places, especially in the United States, aren't gridded. More out in the country on the plains, everything is really scattered, but even the farmland is all gridded out. Maybe this is a sign that when we go into the next plane of existence, we don't need to, function off the planes and the grids, that we can organically create houses that are more sustainable to the energy. Not to put down the cube, but again, it's all in the intention, but I'm sure that the intention when building, especially here in the United States, all the grid systems, it was out of a satanic, negative, polarizing theme, because you can align it with a lot of that symbology. Not just in New York, but in a lot of other cities and places. You could see things were designed purposefully in a not so positive way. So in regards to, you know, thinking about what we're going to do in the next plane of existence, maybe we really should think about going into more of a, like a biodome kind of atmosphere, or an organic form, and not have everything so squared off, because all of our ancient ancestors who did go into the caves for healing healed in more of a concave, archy type structure. There was arcs everywhere. There were peaks, concave. There was, to capture all the frequency and the vibes and the tones. So maybe Ra is onto something, that we need to get away from these square boxes that we live in, or rectangular shape. Maybe that's not doing us any good for our energy flow. Just a thought, just something to put out there. I was thinking about it the other day. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts in between taking my notes, and I just find it very interesting that our ancient civilizations built more and around, and it wasn't until the negative polarity came in and started making everything cubed and square shaped. And when I was reading that, it dawned on me that, wow, the majority of us live in a house that is of a box or a rectangle. And how, not to say that our energy is off by any means, but what could be the possibilities moving forward if we had available rounder houses or more archways, more arched ceilings, who knows, what have you. But I just find that concept very interesting. And I think it would help a lot more people if that would be the intention, to get the vibration to heal. So just putting that one out there, stirring the pot, opening up some brains. Let me know what you think. Ra is the law of one is always interesting to read. It jumps all over the place with questions, which isn't a bad thing. But it's not cohesive all the time. And I think it's interesting that we really need to focus on our chakras, as always. And I think it's a big time to do that work now, as we are coming upon our new plane of existence, which no one really has the answers to. Everybody is saying something different. I really haven't heard one medium, one channeler, all cohesively have very similar things to say about this quantum leap that everybody's going to be taking eventually. There might be a solar flash. There might not be. There might be light codes. There might not be. There might be this big cataclysmic event. There could not be. We don't know until it happens. And I don't even know if they upstairs are all decided on one course of action. But whatever that course of action is, I want everybody to be aware of it, not to be afraid of it, and to just know to breathe, and we'll get through it together. So I hope you enjoyed this small but interesting section from the Law of One with my insights into all of it. Sending each and every one of you love and light. I hope you have a wonderful day, wherever you are in the world, day, evening, night, lunch, brunch, afternoon, what have you. Please be safe. Please be seen. Guard your energy right now. Protect yourself. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.